And I think we're ready to go to a...
Michael Merrett. Doug, you introduce this.
Okay, we've got Michael Merrett on the line. Morning, Michael.
Hi, Doug. How you going?
Well, good. Listen, you've been campaigning on accessible transport for some time. This may be a silly question, but exactly what is accessible transport? Because to me it involves a whole number of different things. So perhaps you could explain your outlook?
Sure. Accessible transport for people with wheelchairs and scooters, for example, means independently accessible transport, and that means that people with wheelchairs and scooters with, say, permanent and severe disabilities, they have to be able to use public transport independently, and that means put the platforms for a train station or a tram stop is level with the tram or train or the bus. And that means that we don't require assistance from anybody else to board a tram, train or bus and exit a tram, train or bus. And this is the goal of the Department of Transport, but it's a long-term goal. It comes under the Victorian Public Transport Plan. By the year 2032, all public transport on the Victorian Public Transport Network will be fully accessible to everybody. In the meantime, we are very fortunate to have had the cooperation of the Department of Transport to provide free public transport for wheelchair and scooter users who have a permanent disability or use their wheelchair or scooter outside the home. It went live on the Metlink website on Monday, and that is a scooter and wheelchair travel pass, and it's available on the metlinkmelbourne.com.au website. It's www.metlinkmelbourne, all one word, .com.au, and you can just find it under fares and tickets and free travel passes, and it's called the Scooter and Wheelchair Travel Pass. Also, you can call Metlink on 131638. That's 131638, and they can send you out an application form and a frequently asked questions brochure, and all that information is available on the website to be downloaded as well. So basically, accessible public transport is for everybody. It means everybody can use public transport independently and equitably, all together, with no discrimination. And it's a long-term project for the Department of Transport. But there are a lot of relevant stakeholders. We're all working on these projects together. We've got another one in front of the Epworth Hospital in Richmond, on Bridge Road, Richmond. Now, this is a very exciting project. It's a brand new design of tram stop that we're working on, and I'm volunteering with the Department of Transport as a relevant stakeholder, and there are many, many other people as well working on this, and many people are involved in the scooter wheelchair travel pass as well. It's a big project with many people involved. We're working on the trafficable easy access stop for Bridge Road in Richmond in front of the Epworth Hospital, which will be constructed in early next year, 2011. And it's a very exciting project because it's a brand new type of design, and it will be rolled out throughout the network eventually, we hope.
Can you describe it a little more?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, it's, I've got a brochure here. Well, it's basically, last week a whole bunch of us were out testing. It's an elongated raised-to-road stop. So basically the cars drive over it,
right?
Because it's like a big speed hump, but the top of the speed hump is horizontal, and it's a very graduated speed hump. You would hardly even notice it's there.
Yeah.
Last week we were driving over a few test models out at RAF Base in Point Cook, and you could hardly even notice it was a bump.
And at the high point,
60 kilometres an hour in a bus.
I suppose at the high point, Michael, there'd be access across the road for a wheelchair or whatever, would there?
That's right. Well, it becomes level with the footpath, and so you're waiting on the side of the road like they do at the moment on the footpath for passengers for the tram to roll up. Then the footpath is level with the road basically, pretty much, and the tram, the low floor tram, pulls in at the stop like normal, and then it's about 290 millimetres high above the tram tracks. And the design will be come out. There's an example down in Dank Street, Port Melbourne.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yes, and that's a type of example of something similar to what will be built in the front of the Epworth Hospital.
Michael, can I just ask you that? I mean, I think those stops are wonderful, but they're a problem if every stop isn't the same. The low-floor tram's all right as long as there's a stop to accommodate it, but if the stop isn't there, you can't get off the tram once you're on it.
This is exactly right, and that's why they've agreed to provide the scooter and wheelchair travel pass, because almost all of the Victorian public transport network is independently inaccessible to wheelchair and scooter users, and they admit that, and they're working slowly but surely on providing the whole tram network, for example, to be fully independently accessible. But it's a long-term project, and they've to date built 300 accessible stops, but there's 1,785 tram stops. And this is just one issue. I've got another issue as well, which I'm pursuing with a whole bunch of other people, which is the train stations. And a similar type of design could be implemented on every train station, according to Andrew Lazala, the CEO of Metro. He had a bit of work done in the UK on the Waterloo City line, which is very similar to these new tram stops.
Yeah.
It's a little raised platform on the train station platforms that allows people to have level entry with the trains. Might not work with every train exactly perfectly, but it might be a good start.
Yeah, I know. I think I know the sort of thing.
As well.
Yeah, yes, I've seen photos of that, and it does look good. It's sort of like another little hump. So you at least get access to one door. I presume it'd be up the front of the train near the, yeah.
And that way we don't have to rely on the drivers.
That's right,
to pull the ramp out and help us get on.
Yeah.
And make that independent. So we will be independently able to access the train. Yeah. And that would in fact speed up the trains, the frequency. And Andrew Lazala was talking a few months ago at the Metropolitan Transport Forum about in 10 years doubling the patronage of trains and speeding the train times up to a minimum 10 every 10 minutes and then down to every 2 to 3 minutes.
Sure.
So to do that, we're going to have to speed up people getting on and off the train as well.
Yeah, well...
and that includes wheelchairs.
Yeah, the humps at one or two doors too, it doesn't really affect people on foot either.
No, not at all.
Because it just, in some ways, it improves the access, for them as well.
Which is a very good idea.
But it does mean you don't have to fix the whole platform, the whole 150 metres or whatever it is from one end of the platform to the other.
It's a great idea, but...
The thing that I'm really impressed about over my last year's working with the Department of Transport is they do have a good social inclusion unit where they're always working on innovative ideas, and people who are in wheelchairs and scooters can have a say as a relevant stakeholder with the Department of Transport, and we can actually work with the engineers and the people directly involved in building and constructing these things.
Well, the trick seems to be to get a small range of designs that work, and everybody can agree on, and then start rolling them out at a decent speed.
Well, that's where I think the Department of Transport will do well, because they're listening to the actual people who are going to be using these stops.
Well, that's great.
It's not just out of a textbook or an engineering university degree. They're actually consulting with the relevant stakeholders which is a very positive thing to see.
You've mentioned the term long-term, speaking of speed, but you've also said several times so far already a long-term campaign. And this program has been looking at these issues for many years, and every time we look at it, the government says, yes, full access will be achieved in 10 years or 15 years, but it's always 10 or 15 years. It keeps going back.
That's why I think it's important for people who have an interest in these things to keep the pressure on. And not pressure, but just interest. Keep people thinking about it and talking about it who are in positions of power and try to have some small impact yourself as an individual. If you've got the real lived experience, if you're in a wheelchair or a scooter, then speak up and have a say. You know, write an email, write a letter, or get some friends interested and like join a little group, maybe on Facebook. I mean, that's how I've done all the work with the campaigns on Facebook, as you probably realise. I know Doug's a Facebook fan, a Facebook person, and it's a very good way to network. At the moment, I'm just at RMIT starting a community development course. So last year I did a Leadership Plus course at RMIT, and that gave me a little bit of inspiration to maybe, you know, take a leadership role, however small it was. But anybody can really do something rather than just, you know, it's easy for a person with a disability in a wheelchair or a scooter like me to just sit at home and watch TV and think, oh, you know, complain. But if you can actually get out there and do something, it's quite empowering, and it gives you a very good feeling of satisfaction. Maybe, like I started just at the Disability Advisory Committee with the City of Yarra, being community representative, which I'm still doing today. But that's just something where you can go and sit in a meeting and listen, have a little say about what you think about the community, whether it's disability access, parking bays, or anything, footpaths, and you can have your say, and, you know, the footpaths need to be smoothed out a little bit so you don't have bumps and trip hazards and that type of thing.
As a cyclist, I'm aware of that as well. I mean, on bike paths and things, the same problem for cyclists, the next situation, that one. Michael, we've run out of time, but contact, for people who do want to get involved, what's a contact?
You can have a look at all the projects that I've been working on Facebook. If you're able to get on Facebook, just type in Michael Merrett, that's Merrett, and there's a picture of myself on the profile picture of on a red scooter. Wheelchair mobility aid scooter. Or I suggest ringing up Metlink on 131638 in regards to the scooter and wheelchair travel pass. Or just contact the Department of Transport directly if you want to be involved in making positive changes in accessibility for everybody to use the public transport network.
Okay, Michael, look, thanks for your time this morning, and we've run out of it, but good luck with the whole thing, and good luck with the cause as well.
Yes, thank you, Doug.
No worries.
Appreciate it all. Thanks.
Okay, mate, thanks a lot, Michael.
I should get a quick plug. I think around midday, our old friend Richard Wynne is going to be visited, or is it him outside? He's electoral office housing minister who's been promising to come on this program for about 4 years. 4 years. Yeah. So if you're free.